They say they want equality. We say we want equality. I don't. But I guess, according to science, they're getting it. More women may be psychopaths than previously thought, says expert. Welcome back to Far From Eden. So, yeah, apparently this is a thing recently. Recently being this article from The Guardian is from February 26th, 2024. So real recently, at least published here, and then I saw it published a bunch of different places. I just chose The Guardian. It was lots of different places. And I thought it would be a lot of fun for us to take a look at this. And I wonder if any of you probably, now if you're looking at subtitles, closed captioning, this is sarcasm. I bet none of you've ever met a psychopath before, right? Never, ever. No, a female psychopath. Like that's just, no, they don't exist. Let's see what science says, because we've all learned that we should trust the science. This article is in The Guardian, as I said, on February 26th of this year. More women may be psychopaths than previously thought, says expert. Dr. Clive, I don't know if it's pronounced body or Bodhi, it's B-O-D-D-Y. Phonetics tells me it's body. Dr. Clive Body says assessment skews toward obvious male traits, but female psychopathy is more subtle. Okay. I don't like that sentence the way it's written, but I get it. This is written by Nicola Davis. She's the science correspondent. When it comes to typical when it comes to I am so sorry. My print cartridge had problems. Let's start that again. When it comes to a typical psychopath, the suited and booted Patrick Bateman from the novel American Psycho might spring to mind. But according to one expert, the number of women with the neuropsychiatric disorder could be far greater than previously thought. Now, I am sure you're all stroking out from your shock, but pull yourselves together. We'll get through this. Psychopaths are generally considered to lack empathy and guilt. Yeah. Exhibit antisocial behavior, lie frequently, and be ruthless, narcissistic, and manipulative. I bet you I just described a lot of your ex-wives, just in that sentence. Lack empathy and guilt. There's the few women that comment on the channel, not the Nicole Jennies, not the good ones, but the couple that get in there, the things they say about men, like one person, Vegan Butterfly, commented and said on my Men Are Walking Away video that no, women are walking away. They're walking away from domestic violence. They're walking away from, what else did she say? Cheating and some other, feminist lie. And I was like, have you read the comments? I commented back and I said, look, if those are the men that you've had experience with, if that's what you've experienced, it's the ones you chose. That is not what most men are at all. Not even a little bit. Like, read these comments of these men pouring their hearts out and what they're saying. Just to come in and comment what she commented lacked empathy, lacked any kind of guilt, because I think the two go hand in hand. Just just that comment. That reminded me of that comment. I'm like, read the room. Seriously. And, stop watching Dateline or, I don't know, Law and Order SVU or whatever. Like, stop with the propaganda. But yeah, back to the article. Psychopaths are after money, power, and control, said Dr. Clive Boddy from Anglia Ruskin University, who is an expert on psychopaths in the corporate world. Yeah, well, so far, I'm like, how is any of this, how is it that there are female psychopaths? How is that news at all? Anyway, while the idea of psychopaths as violent antisocial criminals has given way to a more nuanced view, with Boddy among those to argue they are often found in big business, the idea that they are mostly male has remained. Yeah, because of movies and propaganda. You don't ever see, a female villain, if you see a female villain in any kind of a narrative, she's also like the hero, like Maleficent, or something like that. So the female villain nowadays is like something that we're supposed to want to be like as women, I think. It's crazy. The behavior of female psychopaths seems to be subtle enough and less obvious than male psychopaths, and therefore they're not recognized as much, Boddy said. Yeah, because they're real dang good at it. Like, they're good at the manipulation. People don't know what's happening until it's happened. And you're in a divorce court and you're like, who's this woman? That's not who I married. A small but mounting body of evidence describes female psychopaths as prone to expressing violence verbally rather than physically, with the violence of being of a relational and emotional nature, more subtle and less obvious than that expressed by male psychopaths, he noted, adding that may include spreading rumors and lies for personal advantage. Yeah, like false accusations, so that you can have more custody, so you can get more child support. That's something. I'm getting mad. Thinking about that woman who commented just made me mad. I get real protective. I know it's really silly. Like, here I am a woman and I feel protective of you guys, but I know that you're like not allowed to speak up for yourselves. You're not allowed to do that. And I feel like, yeah, and the other thing about women is that they do this to people in weakened positions or like, for example, they take advantage of their kids, they use their kids, they leverage their kids have no control. So you're not going to know when that goes on. I mean, the rest of the PTA is not going to know, the other moms aren't going to know, etc. The dad might see it, but he's powerless. Boddy said one problem was that part of an assessment used to help identify psychopathic traits, known as the Levinson Self-Report Psychopathy Scale, LSRP, has skewed towards men. Of course it has. It's designed to catch the men. There's no female bad behavior. That, he said, was because while the first part of the assessment looked at how emotionally detached, selfish, uncaring, and manipulative a person was, the second part, which covered the psychopathic lifestyle, focused on violence and antisocial behavior. The secondary element and the measures for it were largely based on studies of criminals who were in jail at the time and psychopathic. So the feeling is, among researchers these days, that those measures are just not suited to identifying female psychopathy. You're not going to find something you're definitely not looking for, and if you've already decided that they're holy and honorable, you're just not going to see it. You've given them like immunity before you've ever considered it. Also, this is self-reporting. Really? women would lie. They would lie, self-reporting, even if it was anonymous. They would still lie. Do you know why they would lie? Even if they knew no one would ever know they wrote it. Why would they lie? They would lie because they're lying to themselves first. This is why, one of the reasons they're so good at it. Who remembers from Seinfeld, back when I watched television and I didn't realize that it was all real programming? Remember when George Costanza was trying to coach Jerry, I think, about lying? And he said, it's not a lie if you believe it. Exactly. They believe it. The women believe it. So if they're doing the self-reporting, they are not being honest. They're not going to admit how they really operate. No. I have a theory that that's why, all the wine drinking, later at night, because it gets hard to fool yourself 24 hours a day. Okay, let's make sure. In jail and psychopathic. There had also been fewer studies looking at psychopathy in women than in men. Again, they're not looking for it. They don't want to find it. They don't want to find bad things about women. He said, and assessors may be reluctant to label women as psychopaths. That's what I said. I can't believe they said that. I just slid it right in there. Some estimates have suggested there could be a 10-to-1 ratio of male to female psychopaths, but Body's work using only the first part of the LSRP suggested the figures were very different. Notice they didn't talk about changing the LSRP to try to catch people who weren't necessarily violent psychopaths. That's weird. It's almost 1-to-1, Body said, although he noted large-scale studies of randomly chosen adults would be needed to get a more definitive picture. Body, who is due to give a talk on female psychopaths at the Cambridge Festival next month, said that while an estimated 1% of men were psychopaths, the diagnosis sat at one end of a spectrum. Estimates using the first part of the LSRP suggest that there are about 23% of men who, although they're not categorically psychopathic, have enough of the traits to be problematic for society, he said. Body's own research, based on surveys of white-collar workers, suggested such traits were not uncommon in females. We know. Around 12 to 13% of females have enough of those traits to be potentially problematic. If you're detecting that many of the women are problematic for society, it is a lot more. You guys, men don't understand how deceitful, deceptive we are. It's almost all the time that it's a performance. And I get it. I get the irony. Here I am talking to you guys on a camera telling you that women are liars and they're performing all the time. They are. I grew up watching it. And at one point in time, I can't remember how old I was. I was a teenager and I thought, oh wow, I would be pretty good at manipulating. I need to be careful because I could really be like an evil genius and do bad things. So I better make sure that I keep that under wrap. I remember thinking that consciously. I don't know if I'm autistic or what the deal is, but and at the time I just thought it was a particular skill that I had. And then obviously getting older and then seeing what I see, I'm like, oh no, it's just a mode of operation for women. So I think you should just figure out how much psychopathy we each have. Just assume it's there, especially if nothing's been kept in check or not living in God's order. You're going to see it more. And you probably see it more in men when you're not living in God's order. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about, they used to think like women just weren't psychopaths. And guess what? I think it's the other way. Okay, where did I got off? Oh, I'm fired up. I got off on a tangent. They see the greed, untruthfulness, and ruthlessness of those at the top, and this undermines democracy and the rule of law, he said. So this is the problem for society, I suppose. That's just like saying whatever. Body advocated for screening to be applied to job applicants to help protect employees. Especially, are people dumb enough to answer the questions in such a way that it's going to reveal it? Whatever. Especially the higher up you go in terms of seniority. Therefore, you have more power and control. Right, so you have the ability to do more damage. The more those sorts of screening tests and psychometric tests are needed, he said. Okay. That was not very informative. But I think we knew that it wasn't going to be, because they were like, guess what we just found out? We're like, I know. 10-1? No. And this guy, this science man, he says it's 1-1. I don't think so. I think it's way more. And I don't mean violent, although I think women do get violent. Actually, our tendency to be reactive it makes us violent. It doesn't mean we go and we murder somebody, stab somebody, whatever it is. Like, we don't do that. We might haul off and smack somebody. We might get people's face, especially because we never really get the repercussions for that. We're also the ones that are more likely to kill children, abuse the children, kill the elderly. Lesbian relationships there's a lot of DV in those relationships. And I think it's the female reactiveness. It's the unchecked emotions. And if we were as big and strong as men and had that ability to be brutes, good Lord, what a dangerous world this would be. But as far as, if you, as a girl, as a woman, I was, a girl once. I remember cliques. I remember, rumors and I remember junior high and high school, man. Yeah, psychopathic. Absolutely psychopathic. Competitive, over boys, grades, and they're like, hey, news flash. And I'm like, I bet you, they're like, yeah, but that's as far as you're gonna go, okay? That's the conspiracy theorist in me. Like, we don't really talk about women like this. Shh. We only say nice things. Sugar and spice and all things nice. And all those lies. Anyway, I had to share with you guys. That turns out women can be psychopaths. Oh, goodness. I'm glad I have you guys to talk to about it, because I think I would absolutely lose my mind. So, thanks for hanging out again. Have a good Friday. Be safe. Take care of yourselves. Do something that feeds your soul, whatever that is. And I will see you guys on the next one. I love you. Take care.